Welcome to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I'm your host, Shade Curry, and I believe every divorced woman deserves a romantic relationship where she feels safe, loved, and cherished. You can create the most amazing life after divorce, and I will teach you how. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I have here on Zoom with me Dr. Manuela Powell. Dr. Manuela is a life coach for 40 plus women who are ready to start living the sparkliest, loudest, and most outrageously real years of their lives. After finally getting the memo that she was queer at the tender age of 47, she realized most women could use some help to come out of whichever bullshit closet they've been stuck in forever. And so she took it upon herself to be their soul fluffer. I love it. This is like the best bio ever. And I'm going to let you just tell the audience, all about yourself, because there's so much good stuff in here in your bio. But why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thank you so much. And so glad to be here talking to you. So as you said, I am a former breast cancer surgeon, and working with women for 20 plus years, I realized that there was a lot of women who did everything right, meaning they ate their kale and they did the yoga and their Pilates. And then there they were in my office with cancer at 40. So I realized that the dynamics a lot of times with the partners or the families, these are women that, yes, did everything right, but they did everything that they should and not things they wanted to. So they were living with this mask and just this, just doing things, checking the boxes like they were told to do, like a good girl. And so I realized that helping them get rid of that might even save more lives than actually the cancer surgery, because you might not have the cancer, because obviously we know that our mental state does contribute a lot to disease.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Oh my goodness. That is amazing. And, it brings back one of my early clients. Like I worked with her, she's been like 4 or 5 years ago. And she came to me for divorce recovery. And she had filed for a divorce because her doctor, her oncologist, told her she had breast cancer. And so it was in remission, that she should not have had breast cancer. She's like, she said, my oncologist told me that I had 0 markers, and I don't know all the medical terms for this. Genetically, you should not have breast cancer. There's no reason for you to have what you have.
Yeah. And I do think that, when we do that, when we live life like that, just doing everything for everybody else, be it our partners or even just society in general, we do have a lot of resentment, because it's like, why can't I have the things? Why, and even worse, when you do have the things, meaning you have a good career and relationship and kids and all the things, like you checked all the boxes and you're still not happy. So then it's like, well, obviously there's something wrong with me, because they said that this is what I need to do to be happy. And here I am every night lying down in bed and being like, really? Like, that's it? Like, what's the deal? So that is a lot of what I call integrity, is just being on the outside the same as you are on the inside. And I feel like there's a lot of your inner self knows that is not right. Yeah. And that there's lots of things you're doing that go completely against what you believe and who you actually are. So I do believe that sort of resentment will have consequences to our health.
Yeah. And this is such a common situation for women in midlife. Every other, every ninth woman out of every 10, women has this story of I did all the things. Why am I here? Why am I divorced? Why am I unhappy? Why am I sick? Why am I what is your... I know we believe the same things about how we all got here, but I want to hear you tell how did we all get here? What's happening?
There's one very simple explanation: the patriarchy. End of story. That's it. Done. Okay, we're good. Because really, we have been as women oppressed forever. In that we're seen as less than. We're seen as we need to conform to these certain rules. I just saw recently Dolly Parton, the queen, the goddess, just showed up with her little shorts and whatever the clothes that she wears. And oh my God, people are just like, she is 70, whatever. That is absurd. I'm like, just what? the woman has like 75 Grammys and Oscar nominations, like all the things. Just can we just like not do this? So all those things, even if you're a badass feminist or if you're progressive, there's so many little messages that you get that just keep telling you that you are a little less than, just a little less than. You're just not, it's just not the same. Like, we don't make the same money. And, the whole like mansplain, whatever. There's so many things in the media that just keep reinforcing the message that we should not make waves. We need to be polite. Everybody needs to be taken care of. And, our job is to serve others, et cetera, et cetera. So all those things, like, this is not our nature. We're not, of course we want to help others. Like, we're here, like, I was a doctor, now I'm a coach. I love helping others, but not to the expense of myself. And one thing that I like to say is that there is the word selfless and there's the word selfish. And I think we need a word in the middle, which I call selfful, because it's not about being selfish. Yes, we care about other people and we want to do things for others. We want to help, we want to contribute, but not to the expense of our health.
Yeah, 100%. And I won't go down this rabbit trail, but there's just the narrative about how those words are even used. Who do those words apply to? I rarely hear about the selfless man.
Oh God,
selfish man.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. No, they're just doing their thing. They're working all day and then they'll raise the kids or whatever it is just like, oh yeah, sure. I'm the one who cooks and takes care of the kids just because it's how it is, or I do it better or whatever. Right. Like, it's just like, there's so much of that. And not to say absolutely there's lots of men that do so much of their job. Let's just be clear. They're not helping their wives. But, it's the messages we get even when we are in these relationships, which my marriage was. My ex-husband is very present in our kids, and he was very present at home and all these things. But still, we still have those messages from society.
Yeah. So you were married, you've been divorced, you're in a relationship now, which is we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
All of that and get the good tea. How did this play out in your own relationships as well? Just, being socialized as a woman and being seen as less than, like, how did that play out in the way you showed up in your marriage or in the way your relationship dynamic?
Yeah, I think in my marriage, I still had a lot of those messages playing out. So I got married and I had kids quite late. I met my ex when I was 40. He was 28, by the way. So I was like, what? That's not even happening. And we lived in Hawaii. It was like, everything is fine. It's great. This is just whatever. And eventually, well, it wasn't. And we decided to build a life together. And I had kids pretty late. I was 42 with my first and 44 with the second. And I was like, it's going to be fine. I'm a grown ass adult. Like, nothing is going to change, which was super cute. But when I had my first kid, motherhood was just like a bomb that exploded in my life. And we were living in Brazil at the time. So it was a little easier. My career was a little more manageable because I could really work part-time. And in Brazil, I had a maid and I had a nanny and I had my family and all that support that we get like that. And but it was so hard. I remember this one time that I had a maid and I had a nanny. And I remember this time when I was washing a bottle because both my sons, they breastfed and then they needed formula because they couldn't stop eating ever. So I was washing a bottle after having breastfed and I look, across to my ex, and he's like, had the baby in a little, that little sack that we put in front. And he was doing his thing. He was reading a book or doing some work. I don't know what he was doing. He was doing something that was not baby related. And I remember like looking at him, I was like, oh my God, look at him. He can actually do, I remember like just being like, how can he do anything else? So it was not that he was saying, he was like, oh yeah, you do the things. No, I had other people that could be doing that, but I felt this is my job. I have to do it, until I had to like really like force myself like, okay, I need to like tone it down because it's just impossible if I keep going this way. So I think I put myself, because of all that, I put myself in this situation of like, oh, now I have to, I don't know what switch just flipped in my mind. Then now I'm this servant to this mini being. And then, of course, if you're a servant to this mini being, let's just be a servant to everybody else who needs something, because why not? We're already here. So I felt like I was always a badass person my whole life. I was called intimidating so much. I mean, I was a cancer surgeon, firefighter, all these things. And then now I'm here just like doing everything for everyone and just like feeling myself becoming small.
Mm-hmm.
And until the day that I realized that I was like, wait, what? I found a picture of me when I danced in a burlesque show. And I looked at that picture and I was like, where is this person? Like, what happened? And I look at myself with the mom jeans and I haven't even put like an earring for like a year, just like, I took a shower today. That's great. And I was like, what just happened to that person? I realized how much of my identity I let go because of motherhood. So that's when I started this whole like, okay, I need to get like coaching and all of that to get back to, okay, who am I really now that I am a mom? Like I have all these things, plus I have little homie humans. Yeah. So thank God for coaching, because that's what kind of made me go back to, okay, we can go back to, or even not go back, because now I never felt like I am right now. And I do think that 40s and 50s, you're like, you shed a bunch of things that we carry earlier, but it was really doing all the work that I did. And that's why now that's what I help people with, because I see how amazing it is when you don't have to live with those expectations and that weight.
Yeah. Yeah. And where do you think, like for you specifically, where did the expectation, that definition of motherhood as being this all-consuming identity shift? Do you know?
Honestly, that was absolutely not what my mom taught me directly. She never said, you need to be home and take care of your kids. Never once she did that. I think, again, it's really the weight of society, because it was not, I was a professional person. And of course, in the professional life, especially the time that I was in Brazil, there was so much, the whole macho stuff and so many, harassment, all those things that are like, yeah, they're just how it is kind of thing. Just like, yeah, we just have to take it because that's what men do and whatever. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I've been, I've asked myself a lot that, because I was not raised to be a housewife. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I wasn't raised to that. So that I didn't learn that, being home. I think it's really just society. I don't know.
Really?
I really don't know.
All the images we see. And I think mine came probably a little bit from religion. I became religious as a teenager. So that was like my rebellion against my parents, was to become super religious because they weren't. And I think that environment is kind of where I got the whole oh yes, motherhood, like the Madonna, the image of the Madonna.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have no clue, because I was never like that. I actually didn't even know I wanted to have kids until my first niece was born when I was 30. And then I was like, oh, I totally want to have kids. Look at that. I love that person. I don't even know her, and I love her.
Yeah.
But until then, I was like, I don't even know if I want this. I never particularly liked kids. It was just like, what? And so that's what I'm saying. How even a person like me could be in this situation. Imagine all the other people who grow up in way more oppressive societies or families or communities in general.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. All right. Let's talk about dating.
Yeah.
Relationships. So you have been divorced how many years now? Do you wonder exactly how divorced women just like you are meeting eligible men who want a real relationship and a commitment? They're doing it by dating with their core values. Your core values are the GPS that lead you to the partner you've been looking for. When you use your core values on dating apps, text messages, and at social events, you will easily connect with your true match partner without chasing, settling, or wasting time with non-committal men. I have taught exactly how to do this in the 2-hour Core Values Dating Blueprint course available on my website, shadecurry.com/dating. That's SADECURRY.com/dating. You will learn exactly how to identify your core values and use them on your dating profile, how to ask the right questions via text, and how to tell the right stories on dates, so that you attract the right people and repel those who aren't right for you. If you're ready to meet your true match, hop over to shadecurry.com/dating or click the link in the show notes. Now back to the episode.
So we separated in November 2021. So 2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah.
And like, what were your thoughts like after the divorce when it was like, done? What were your thoughts about dating and a new relationship?
I wanted nothing to do with it, like absolutely nothing. I was just like, at some point, right? Because obviously there's that first part of the separation and divorce and all that like everything sucks and everything's horrible. What do I do with my kids? Like how help them to, adjust to everything. So once that was sort of settled, I was like, okay, what's the deal now? And I started doing something that I always loved to do and I haven't been doing in forever, which was dancing. So I started doing a lot of partner dancing. And so I had that and I had my business and I had my kids. My life was great. So my friends are trying to set me up at some point, after 6 months or so. They're trying to set me up with people. And I'm like, absolutely not. I do not have the bandwidth. I felt like I don't need a relationship in my life. My life is really good right now. So like, where would I even put a relationship at this point? And so it was like actively kind of like, nah, like not against it. Like if I meet someone, fine. But like people are like, are you going to go in the apps? I'm like, absolutely not. No, that's a whole job. I don't want to do that. I'm fine.
Yeah. And so how did you meet your partner? Like, what was the switch? Did you become more open to it?
I honestly don't think, I think it was like, I'm open. I think at that point I was like, you know what? I know that like, maybe like in a couple of years, it's going to be great. I'm going to meet a great person. It's going to be awesome. But that was kind of like, I know this is going to happen because now I'm so happy with myself and I love myself, which was a new thing for me because I did not love myself before. So I was like, I'm just so satisfied with myself, with my life. So obviously that's going to happen in a couple of years. And then I went to an event in New York. Our friend Serena, I was in her mastermind. We had this live event there. And since I was in New York, I live in Texas, in Austin. So I was like, well, I'm going to go to DC. I lived in DC for a while. I hadn't been there in like 8 years and I have friends there. So I called one of my friends like, hey, I'm coming to DC. He's a musician. He's like, oh, I have this gig on Saturday. It's going to be great. So cool. I'm going to go on Saturday. But then on Thursday, I was like, I've been here like for the whole week. I'm good. So I called my friend. I was like, hey, is there anything going on Friday? Because I think I'm going to go. I was like, oh yeah, I have a party at a castle. It's like, perfect. I'm coming on Friday. And that's where I met him.
How did it happen? Listen, don't spare us any details because I know the listeners want to hear.
Girl,
I will tell in person.
Do you want the detail? I will tell okay. So I would tell all the dirty details. Okay. Because I love the story, honestly. So here's the thing. I did not want a relationship, but I'm still human. And I was like, what would be great? A one-night stand. Because, that would be awesome. It's just like a one-night stand, have some fun, go home, end of story, right? So like DC would be the perfect place to do that because my friend is going to be there on stage playing, it's a show. That's going to be good. That's my plan. And I'm very good at, making these things happen.
Making that happen.
So I was like, I'm going to make this happen. So we go to the party. And at the party, actually, I was kind of not even thinking about it. I was more like, maybe in the show tomorrow. So I go to the party and they're having this jam session, right? Everybody's like there. My friend's the guitar player. So he's playing the guitar. And before we get there, he said to me, he's like, there's this guy that I really want to play one of my bands because he's a really good drummer. He's awesome. So I'm going to text him to come down and jam with us. So I'm there watching them play. Eventually the drummer comes and they play. And when they stop, I started talking to him. I was like, okay, this is the guy. This is where we're going. This is what's happening. Okay. This guy is a perfect target for my specimen. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is what's up. But so we talked for a little bit and then my friend who was doing whatever came to call me to do something. And as I turned to talk to my friend, this dude disappears, like just leaves. And I was like, what the hell? Like, what? You just left. Dang it. So, okay, we decided to leave. The party was kind of weird. So like, okay, let's leave. So we go. When we say goodbye, I say goodbye to him. And it was kind of like, we just held hands. I'm like, bye. And it was kind of, there was a vibe there. I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. So we leave and I tell my friends like, hey, what's the deal with this Ben guy? And he's like, oh, he's a great drummer. I'm like, no, none of that. Like, he's cute. What's the deal? That's what I want to know. He's like, oh, okay, you like him. I was like, yeah, is he going to your show tomorrow? And he's like, well, I can invite him. And I was like, okay, here's what I would like you to do. I want you to invite him, but I want you to tell him that I'm inviting him, because then it's clear that it's like, and this would be, he would text him on a Saturday at noon, and this show is like at 8 p.m. So like, you have so many, he plays in 5 bands. So like, first of all, it's a miracle that he did not have a gig on Friday and Saturday. First of all, like that never happens. But so he texted him and he says that, and he says, oh, I thought you guys were together. And I was like, no, she's my friend. I actually have a girlfriend. She wasn't there, whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll see you tonight then. So cool. And I was like, okay, it's on, right? Excited. So I get to the show and he arrives, cool. My friend goes play. And as we're sitting there, at some point he turns to me. His name is Ben, by the way. So he turns to me and is like, hey, do you want to go dance? And I was like, excuse me, what do you mean? I was like, let's go dance. Do you dance? I'm like, okay, let's go dance. So then I'm like, all right, this is perfect. I knew it. All right. So we dance. It's great. As my friend is, the show's over, he's grabbing his stuff and all that. So I go to Ben and say, hey, so what are you doing now? This is like 9 p.m. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go to this bar to watch this band that I've been meaning to see. And how about you? I was like, oh, I'm going to say yes when you invite me to go with you to watch this band. And he laughs and I was like, oh, do you want to come with me? And like, yes, please. So we go and we dance again. I was like, oh, this is great. Cause I just adore dancing. It's so perfect. And, partner dancing is such like, there's so much connection. Anyway, so I was just like, this is excellent. So eventually we leave this bar and, we're there and everything is fine. And we're flirting and like, so we're talking about divorce and dating because he was also divorced. He had told me that on the party the day before that he had been divorced for like 2 or 3 years, whatever. And it's like, how is dating? It's like, yeah, no, dating's like, I don't know. It's kind of, it's hard. Is that the whole thing? Like we go and whatever. So, what we know with the people that like, okay, we're divorced and we're just like trying out all these things and I'm on the apps and I'm doing the thing. So we're walking out to the parking lot and I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? So I just turned to him at some point. I was like, so quick question. Are you going to kiss me or what? What's happening? And he was like, yes. So he did kiss me. And it was so like that moment, I was like, crap, this is not going to be just a one-night stand, is it? Damn it. So anyway, yeah. So we did go to his house and sorry if you feel this, if you're listening, you're like, oh my gosh. I was like, yes, I can do whatever the hell I want. So, I recommend it. It's great. So I went to his house and left. And I knew he had a gig during the day, the whole day, the next day, which was Sunday. And I was going to leave Monday morning. And I woke up and I was like, I can't leave without seeing him again. Like, I'm never going to see him again. Like, no. So I text him and say, hey, I actually can't stop thinking of you. So I want you to kiss me more. Can we do that? Which was like, it actually made me super nervous because he would be like, what is this crazy woman? Just like, yesterday was already like, just like hounding me. What's happening? And he was like, no, oh yeah, no, that's great. That's a great idea. Let's do that. But he was like, but I have this gig the whole day and you're leaving tomorrow morning. But I only have my kids on Tuesday. So I was like, well, I can change my flight to Tuesday. So I was like, great, I'll pick you up Monday morning. I'll drop you off at the airport on Tuesday. And honestly, like those 24 hours, we had all the conversations and because I was like, okay, I have no time to lose. Okay, I don't want to be playing games and all that stuff. So like, hey, here's the deal. I live over there. Like, here's how my life is and all that. So and we were just like so open and we told each other so many things about our lives. And we realized that like, no, yeah, I think this is something that could be cool to pursue. So let's see what happens,
Amazing. How long has it been since you started seeing what happens?
That was a year and 2 months ago.
Amazing. Yeah. And you live in Austin still.
Yeah.
He lives in DC still.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I was super excited to have you on is because my listeners and my clients are constantly asking about long distance relationships, which, as a general rule, I generally discourage them because this get complicated. There's a lot. And of course, there's always outliers. And I always say, hey, listen, guys, I'm not saying long distance relationships don't work. Right. However, the ones that do are outliers. And then you are one of the outliers. So
it's not for everyone.
Talk about that.
Yeah. I would say it's not for everyone. I actually love it because of all the things that I said previously. My life is full. I have a lot of things going on. And we do make the time to see each other. First of all, I don't think it's possible if you don't have a job like I do. I can go wherever. I don't have to be tied to a location, which is actually one of the things when I quit medicine. I'm like, my one goal, I had two goals. I want location freedom and I want to still help people. So because I didn't want to be, my whole life was slave to a place. So, if you don't have that situation, it might be so much harder. The other thing is that there are direct flights between Austin and DC or Baltimore. So that's also very, it makes things easier. So we do see each other at least once a month. With what I have with my ex, we have our kids one week on, 1 week off. He also travels a lot. So a lot of times, we just like, we make it work, but basically we see each other at least once a month. And I am actually the one who usually goes there because he has all the bands and all the gigs. So, it's yeah. And this is a choice, and this is the choice I'm cool with because I love going there and I have fun and I enjoy it and I love the gigs and I love dancing. And now I know all the dancers that go to his gigs. There's a really cool group. So, I make it work. We make it work, but it's definitely not for everyone.
Yeah. Why is it not for everyone? And I know all the reasons why I tell people this is not going to be for you. But I want to hear from why is this not for everyone? Because there's a lot of almost I don't want to say higher thinking, but more radical.
Yeah.
Holding things loosely that has to go into that kind of relationship.
Yes. I think it wouldn't have worked for me in other phases of my life, especially the phase of my life where I was really insecure. And I, first of all, I was like, if I love a person, oh my God, if the person breaks up with me is the end of everything. I don't even know how I'm going to survive. Like that feeling of the neediness and the I'm going to die if this person breaks up with me. I don't have that. I love him and I hope we don't break up, but I know I'm not going to die if that happens. Yeah. I know I will survive because I did many times before. And not only that, I really believe that I not only will survive, but I will meet another amazing person. I don't have a doubt about it. And I never thought that before. And I think it's because I didn't really love myself. So I think that is the first thing. You being really secure and in love with yourself first. And I know it sounds such a cliche, but it's really true that makes a huge difference because there's a lot of things that go into making a relationship successful. And I actually talked to him today and was like, hey, I'm going to be in this podcast. What are some of the things that you think? Because I was like, I want to actually come here with some actionable things, or at least very practical things. And I have 5 things that I think are very important for a long distance relationship to work. And do you want to go through them?
Oh, please. I'm riveted. You just keep going.
Okay, so the first thing, I think people need to make a decision when you meet someone who doesn't live in your same zip code. Is this a relationship or is it an occasional hookup? Because it's going to be very different. A relationship will require a deeper connection. So you're going to have to do things like you're going to, have to share kind of the boring, quote unquote, parts of your life. We talk at least twice a day, if not more. We text a lot and we're just like, oh yeah, today, I just clean my bathroom or whatever. Just the things that you would do if you were either living in the same house or at least seeing each other more often. Right. So that will, you need to like the same things, but also be open to sharing those kind of things.
So I haven't heard from him in 2 days, panic.
Right. Can I text him? Should I text him? Oh my God, if I text him, is it going to, please no. And this, I told him right in the beginning, I was like, I'm not going to play games. If I want to text you, I'm going to text you. If I want to call you, I'm going to call you because, oh my God, I just do not want to do that anymore, ever.
Yeah. Would that work? Because I think some of the situations that happen that I've seen is, I haven't heard from him in 2 days. How do you handle if that, I don't know.
Does that happen to us? Even in the beginning, I would think he was dead and I wouldn't send a search party to his house because it was something that actually, that's number 2, which is to establish some agreements. I want to call it rules. I would say agreements. And agreements may involve a lot of things. And this was something that we talked on literally the first date. We talked about it. Okay, how are we going to deal with this? So some things are like, how often are we planning to see each other? And, how is our daily communication going to look like? I just had a friend who called me recently because she met someone who didn't live in the same city as hers. Like, let's talk about it. And one of the things she was like, oh, should I text him? Should I not? And I'm like, listen, you guys have to decide like, what's the deal? Because if not, you can't play games 3,000 miles away. That is so hard. That's going to be so much more difficult to even establish a connection. I mean, I think actually these 5 things that I'm going to tell you are true for relationships, no matter where they are. But I think they're even more important if you're on a long distance relationship. So in part of also the agreement is not just how you're going to communicate, but also your boundaries, what is okay and what's not okay. In our case, we immediately said, I think monogamy is not cool. So we're ethically non-monogamous, which is a whole other conversation, but that requires so many conversations about what's cool, what's okay, what's not. Yeah. But even if you're not in that situation,
define ethical non-monogamy.
It's just that we are not, we are able to, and I mean, there's so many definitions. It just means we are not monogamous. So we can go and hook up with someone else. We can go on a date. We're not polyamorous. So I think polyamory is a form of ethical non-monogamy. We're not full on poly because we don't have other relationships, emotional relationships. I think that's the for us. And if that would happen, then we were going to talk about it. But I absolutely do not have the bandwidth for that. I keep saying, I was like, this is it for me. Okay. Yeah. But we can go on dates or whatever, like, and that is the kind of stuff exactly that you want to talk about because it looks different to many people. You can say, I'm not okay. What does it mean for you to be non-monogamous? Yeah. Right. And what does it mean, if you're like, well, okay, you have a party and hey, I invited this person. Okay. Is that a friend of yours or is that someone that you have an interest in? Because I want to know before, and we have to talk about, hey, are you comfortable with this? Are you not? That's the kind of conversations that we need to have.
Yeah, and that this is one of the reasons why I admire non-heteronormative relationships. Mm-hmm. I'm not in one. I have no desire to be in one, but mm-hmm. I admire the fact that there's so much direct communication. Yeah. And so many really great boundaries, because one of the things I have to correct with women all the time is even you're saying, hey, we need to define what non-monogamy means for us. I think we need to define what a relationship is totally for every relationship.
Absolutely.
I've talked to women who are like, there's this guy that I'm seeing, mm-hmm. and how do I tell him what I need? And I'm like, define seeing. Right. And what it means is they went on one date. And he's been texting her good morning and good night for a month.
Yeah, that's not seeing. You saw him in the past one time.
But she thinks she's in a relationship with him.
Right.
There's a texting every morning. So she defines it as that. And so she's trying to apply the rules of 2 people who are exclusive to this quote unquote relationship. I'm like, oh my God, we have so much work to do.
Yeah.
In just knowing that we need to define our frames of reference.
Yeah. And like what can happen with this friend of mine, she did get into a relationship with this person. And the guy told her immediately, was like, I don't want to have a relationship, and whatever were his reasons. And here, listen, I've done that. Not once, probably not even twice. Okay, I've done that. The person tells me, I do not want to be in a relationship. I was like, what do you want to be in a relationship with me? Because I'm amazing.
Sure, we're cuddling. Yeah. You do.
And I can feel you. You totally like me, whatever. People tell you things, just believe them when they tell you things. Doesn't matter what's happening. They told you that. So anyway, in the end, it was like, oh, but we're texting every day. But like, he seems to like me. And all this, just freaking ask him. Mm. And I actually say a lot, if we were all in the habit of just saying, hey, what do you mean by that? If we were in the habit of asking that question, like all the time to all the things, everybody would be happier in all the things, in business and relationship and parent, all the things. Cause like, what does that, let's not assume, oh, but he said that, so I think it's that. And no, just freaking ask him, what does that mean? Yeah. Right. So if you go and you say, hey, I'm actually super into you, and I would love for us to have. We said that to each other. I was like, hey, I'm in love with you. Like, I know we just met, but like, I'm super in love with you. So like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, yeah, cool. So how are we gonna make this work? I'm like, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like, okay, what does that mean? Okay, I'm your girlfriend. You're my boy. What does that mean? Oh, this is what it means to us. Doesn't mean, that everybody's going to have the same definition, but you need to know what the things mean to you. Even if you're just seeing a person. Okay, are you both on the same page that you're just seeing a person?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think like these are very important. So the first thing is, you have to decide what kind of relationship you want to have. Second one is to establish all these agreements. The third thing is really hard for a lot of people is to trust the other person.
Ooh.
Because it is, I don't know if it's impossible, but oh my God, like why you're in a relationship with a person that you don't trust, number one, just don't. Just as a rule, just please don't. Because I know we do these things because like, oh, but he's amazing or she's amazing, whatever. Like, and here we are, like these people, oh, I love them. But if you don't trust them, like how can this be anything?
Yeah.
So jealousy is even less sustainable in a long distance relationship than it is in a local relationship.
Yeah. And I do want to talk about trust a little bit because there's so many nuances to that, because I think a lot of trust, when you trust your partner or the person you're in a relationship with, half of that trust constitutes the self-trust that you can handle them breaking your trust.
I think it's almost all of it is like you trust yourself. What I said in the beginning, I'm not going to die if this person quote unquote hurts me in some way. So you trust that, and you trust that it's like, well, no, I made the right choice for me right now. Like this is a person that I can actually, he's saying or she's saying these things, and I actually can hear those things and be like, yeah, these are compatible with the actions that I'm seeing, and everything kind of, feels like, we do know. I mean, and listen, I had a boyfriend once that was a complete psychopath. I needed a bodyguard. Like it was complete. So there are these people that will manipulate you and do horrible things for sure. So I don't want to dismiss that. But in a regular relationship, there's a lot of things that were like, I knew since the beginning, even the psychopath, like I knew kind of the beginning, not that he was total psycho, but that was like, what am I doing with this guy?
But even choosing to believe someone when you see the red flags is a sign that you're not trusting what's coming up.
Yes. Because you don't trust yourself, and you're like, well, and also you're like, well, this person now likes me. So like, and then they're great and then you have all the reasons why they're great.
I'll never find someone else like them. What if this is the last person?
So all of that, I'm not going to find someone, or this person is amazing and they love me. So obviously, I mean, I should just, that red flag's like, no, never mind. That's obviously not. Yeah. So we do not trust ourselves. So trusting the person, first of all, to actually trust that they're not going to be, doing whatever you agreed you won't do. But also that it's worth it, that you're not, because it's work, obviously. I mean, every relationship is, but if you, add a bunch of plane rides and all that in the middle, it's even more work. So it's really, without trust, I don't see how to move forward. Like I would really recommend against, but that would be true for anything. The fourth thing is to be ridiculously open and honest to yourself and to your partner. And the honesty with yourself means always making sure that your needs are being met, and that you're not having expectations that won't ever be compatible with the reality of your relationship. For example, if you want to have kids, and like Ben and I, we don't have plans to live in the same place. He's not going to move here and I'm not going to move there. So this is our relationship and we're fine. If either of us wanted to have kids with each other, that would really be a problem, because like, how are we going to do this if we're not going to live in the same city? Yeah. So you do have to be honest with yourself, because if there is something that is really important to you, there is nothing that person is going to do that is going to fill that void.
Yeah.
So if you want to have kids, or if you want to know what I want is like a person to every single day come and massage my feet and watch, movies and eat popcorn every single night. Because obviously we do that, but like we do that once a month, So It's not the same. So you really need to again, know yourself and be honest with yourself to be like, is this really meeting my needs? Because if it's not, you will resent that person.
Right. And
No matter what.
also, like, the relationship is what it is now. It could morph into something, but almost like accepting that it is what it is right now.
Yeah.
And
that part is like, it's important because like in the beginning, you might even talk, okay, if this goes, because obviously a lot of people are in long distance relationships and they then move into the same city, right? So of course that happens. But you have to really be realistic about that. I see a lot. I was in a Facebook group for a little bit about long distance relationship. I quickly left because that was giving me anxiety attack because I just wanted to tell everyone, I was like, what the hell are you doing right now? This is crazy.
Those are the conversations I typically am having around long distance. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't we put all that energy into finding someone in your city?
Yeah. So there's a lot, there's a lot that you can see that is like, it's just not serving you. And yeah, it might be like this friend of mine, she was really sad. She really liked this guy, but like in the end, it was like, listen, he doesn't want a relationship. What are you going to do? Yeah. Even if it was like living next door to you, like there's nothing you can do. But like if he's far away, that's even harder. Like that's not going to work. So you just need to like, you're not going to convince him. You're not like, there's none of that, which is again true for all relationships. You just have to at some point be like, no, let's go grieve this thing. Let's go cry for however long and eat ice cream or whatever it is that you do when you're grieving. And then we're going to move on because that's not the end of it. It's just a little blip in the road. And the fifth thing, which is a more practical thing, is as much as possible, I would say to share the burden of travel. So as I said, I'm the one who travels more and we talk about it. And I know it kind of bothers him in a sense. So sometimes he buys my plane tickets or he would do things like that, or we would meet somewhere else if he has the availability. But it does, make it's really tiring. So a lot of times, like I'm going to travel tomorrow to see him. And yesterday I was like, oh my gosh, just have to pack again. So I know when I get there, it's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I'm so happy I'm here. But like, there's that point I was like, oh, can someone just come here and just pack? And now obviously I have, all the hacks and all the things, but still, you're still going to pack in a bag. You're still going to go to the airport. If that's, the kind of distance there is, or you're going to be driving or whatever. So if you can share a little bit of that, that will make it easier. And if you don't, like in my case, just be very clear with yourself if that's something you do. Because like, I have to do it because if I don't, we're not going to be in a relationship. That can be true. Mm-hmm. But make sure you're not resenting them or being like, well, but I come here all the time. So you have to do whatever the other thing is to kind of like balance things out. And if you think there's like, we had a conversation once of like, hey, how about we share the price of the tickets? I was like, sure. Right. Like, let's do that. When you come, I'll pay for half of yours. And when I go, like you pay for half of mine. So then it's like, okay, I'm not the one who's spending like this ridiculous amount of money all the time, And so there's just like really, you need to be really practical. And I say, oh, but that's not romantic. I'm like, well, it's not romantic. Like feeling like you're getting the short end of the stick because that's not going to be sustainable either.
It is romantic. I call it mutual reciprocity is very sexy.
Yes, thank you. Exactly.
It's one of the things I always ask my clients. I'd be like, so does this relationship feel mutually reciprocal? Like things are flowing both ways? If it does, yes.
Yes. And that doesn't mean tit for tat also, because like with this, for example, with this part, it's like, no, it doesn't mean that I'm going to have this number of miles and you're going to have this number of miles. That's not what it means. Yeah. But it means like, okay, I'm doing this, but that still is something that I am enjoying. And we always say for both of us, like, we're going to be in this relationship while it is, attention, I am going to curse now, but there's no other way to say this, but we're only going to be in this relationship while it's a fuck yeah for both of us. When it's stopped being that, then we're not going to do it anymore because it is work. So for now, it's like, we're like, no, we're still, and we talk so much. We have so many conversations. Like I never had these kinds of conversations before in relationships. And the other thing that I always do is like, if there's something that bothers me, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. So a lot of times we have to talk about things that are like, hey, this was not cool, or I didn't like this, or like, can we do this differently? I never had this kind of, I would be like, oh, this is so small. It doesn't matter. Let's just, that was one of the things that I did a lot in my marriage, totally on me. And I think it really corroded the relationship, because I was like, that's why, if I say that, then, it's going to be a fight or whatever. Well, if it's going to be a fight, it's going to be a fight. And if they're going to get mad, they're going to get mad. And that is one of the things that I really work a lot with my clients, which is to allow people to have their feelings without you having to go and comfort them, or you're not responsible for their feelings. Obviously, don't be an asshole, right? I'm not saying that, but just like, say what you need to say. And a lot of times, it's like, hey, this is how I want this to play out. Are you available for that? And maybe the person's going to say, no, I'm actually not. Here's what I propose. And you need to have these conversations all the time.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Got two more questions for you.
Yes.
One is, how is having a long distance relationship? It's got to have some advantages over.
Yes.
And I want to hear them.
I have 5. I'm going to say, I'm ready for this question, because I was like, I want to say that there are advantages. First of all, I think it's really hard to get tired or super annoyed with the other person. I think, even if we're like, oh my God, this is kind of an annoying thing that you do. It's like, I'm leaving tomorrow. It's fine. And then we're like, oh, and then we don't see each other for 3 weeks. I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss you. Forgot about it completely. And then we see, and if it's something that is like recurrent, okay, let's talk about that thing. Right. Mm-hmm. But if it's just, I'm like, because honestly, I don't know if it's the phase of my life or if it's just like, I just really love myself too much. I kind of have a very low tolerance for people in general. Mm-hmm. I just like, I don't, and I tell this to him and to anybody else, I don't know if it's going to change the future, but as of now, I do not foresee myself living with anyone that I have not given birth to. I do not want to live with people. I love living by myself. I love having my house. I love having like everything exactly the way I want. I'm super high maintenance and I love it. And he's obviously high maintenance, although he says he's not. He is, because he should. He's 60 years old. Like, come on. Like, you should be high maintenance at this point in your life. So you want the things the way you want. And I want the things the way I want. So for 1 week out of a month, perfect. We can do that and we can compromise. And it's great. It's so much easier to compromise when it's such a short time. So that's number one. Number 2 is that we do have like the new relationship energy, like most of the time. Cause it's always like, oh my gosh, we're going to see each other tomorrow. Oh my God, that's so exciting. Like, it's great. And then we see each other like, oh, and it's, it's just so different that at this phase, like after a year, more than a year, we'd probably be like more, like, all right, we're just like, we do this. And instead there's always that, oh my gosh, like we're going to see each other tomorrow. It's going to be so exciting, It can be more intense in a way because, the week that we're together all the time. And yes, I still work and do things, but like, because also his work is very, he doesn't need to go to an office. Mm-hmm. We're together for that whole week for basically 24 hours, every single day. So it has that, intensity. And then another thing, which is really good, is that when you're not there, you have your independence, you can, do your thing. And I think it allows for, especially women, we're so good at morphing ourselves into whatever the partner wants us to be, or even not even what they want us to be, but like, if they like rock climbing, suddenly I'm like, I love rock climbing. It's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love it. Right. And it's like, no, like my ex loved camping. I'm like, bye. Have fun. I'm not going. Like my bed, so like that is so much easier to do that, because then he's like, yeah, sure. He likes hunting. Can you imagine hunting? He said, yeah, you have to like sit very still and be very quiet and not call attention to yourself. I'm like, these are things that I hate, all of them. Like I literally, yeah, I was like, what are you talking about? I am very loud.
Red hair. Bright red.
I was like, sitting still for the whole day. You are insane. And then you shoot up, like, stop right there. I can't. But like, he can go, he did the, Thanksgiving, he went and did that. I'm like, good, amazing. Go do that, because that's how, you grew up and you love that stuff. And great. Of course, also having common interests, but you have time to pursue the things that are important to you that don't necessarily have to involve them. So it does make you, even if you don't want to, like it makes you have your own life. Like you do have, the week that I'm not with my kids and I'm not traveling, I'm not going to sit in my house all day. Like, okay, I'm going to like, meet some friends, or I'm going to, whatever, you need to go and do things. And the fifth thing is like, it can't feel like that time when you go see them, it feels like a vacation. So I basically have 1 week vacation every month. I have that vibe of like, this is even if I'm still working, it still feels like, I went on a trip and we're doing different things. I'm not in my house, is all of that. So I actually do like it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
amazing. And my husband might be in
Yeah.
trouble right now. Like, you need to move out, sir. We need that new relationship feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is really, and it was something that he said today when I asked him. He was like, "Oh, there's like the new relationship energy." It's like, "Ah, that is such a cool thing." Because I haven't like worded it this way. Like that is so
Yeah.
true. Like that is such an important thing.
Yeah. And we get, I think, like my husband and I, we get that whenever one of us is out of town. It's like
Yes.
you start missing the other person, you forget all of the
Yeah.
annoyances, it's great, but you get to keep that going all the time.
Yeah.
And my last question was, how did you know Ben was the one? At least the one for now, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, that is such a hard and easy question at the same time because first of all, I don't think there's the one. I think there's the one for now.
but yeah.
Right? Like I had several ones that were the ones and now they're not the one. So that is one thing that I think is really important. I think people put so much, even when I got divorced or we separated, people are like, "Oh, I'm so sorry it didn't work out." I'm like, "What in the world are you talking about? What do you mean it didn't work out? We have 2 kids. We're really good friends." We're like, "Yes, it did work out." It just ended. It doesn't have to be eternal to mean it works out. So, he was the one then, and now it's been. But I don't think it's a thing that you can explain. And I think actually, if you try to justify, if you're justifying a lot, it was like, "Oh no, I like it because there's this thing and that other thing and that other thing." I'm like, I don't know. Like, do you do that with your kids? I'm like, "Yeah, I like my kids because, like, I had like these tax breaks and it kind of cool." No, you're just like, "I just love them." I don't know. Like, whatever. That's love them. Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I noticed that when we separated, people were like, "Oh, what happened?" I was like, nobody asked what happened when he said, "I'm going to get married." Like, "Oh, why?" I'm like, "Because I want to get married." Like, what are you talking about? Right. It's like, when you're not, I was like, "Well, because it's not that anymore."
So the answer I'm hearing is because I want to.
Yes, which is my whole brand, I think, at this point. And I think that is so important because we have such a hard time sometimes even knowing what we want because
Mm.
we think we're supposed to want these things, right? One of the things like that, the conversation we have a lot, about the non-monogamy thing is like, I remember this happening. He was like, "I'm feeling a little jealous." And I was like, and I'm annoyed because I'm jealous, he said to me. And I was like, "Wait, why are you annoyed because you're jealous?" I was like, "Because I shouldn't be jealous." I'm like, "Listen, for 60 years, you heard the message, 'Thou shalt not share your woman with other people.' And now here you are sharing your woman with other people. Of course you should be jealous. That's exactly what you should be because that's the message that you got. So like, just be jealous. If you're jealous enough to think, 'Hey, this is not where I don't want this,' then you're going to tell me and then we're going to decide what to do."
Yeah.
Right. But like, it's not like I shouldn't be jealous. So I, one of the times that he went out with someone and the first time we had just started dating and he had already kind of like had this plan before we met. He was sort of dating this woman, maybe on and off. He's like, I'm just gonna, it's not it. So I'm gonna get out of it anyway. But it's her birthday and I bought tickets to this concert. So we're gonna go. And I'm like, cool. So the day of the concert, I'm like, I start feeling a little, like what's going on. And I was like, "Okay, calm down. Let's see what's up. Why am I feeling like this?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm jealous." Okay, what's that mean? Well, because what if he goes out with her and he likes her more than he likes me? I was
Mm.
like, first of all, I don't think it's going to happen. Second of all, good for him. Like, cool, go be with her then. Second of all, what if they have sex and she's better at sex than me? Again, good for him. Go do that, right? Like, great.
That would be
And
the choice if it's better.
right, I'm like, because if that happens to me, I'm definitely choosing the things that are better for me. Just FYI, right? So I thought that I was like, okay, so that's not it. And then in the end, it was just because I wanted to call him and talk to him, and I couldn't because he was somewhere else that he couldn't talk. So in the end, I was like, "Oh, okay, I can deal with that," right? So it took that like that crushing feeling of like I'm so jealous, and it just like, oh, okay, I'm just like, I just wanted to do something that I can't right now. All right, that's a little frustrating. I can honor this feeling and move on with my life. I don't have to be like, now this is horrible. So that is something that is really, I think non-monogamy is a great tool for personal development because you really have to get in touch with all, like you can go through, through life in a monogamous relationship and never have to ask yourself these questions.
Mm.
But it's just so much self-awareness that you gain by being like, no, let me actually go through the rabbit hole of asking myself, why do I feel bothered by this now?
Yeah. Amazing. Oh my God, what a great answer. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. And being able to say, I want this, I'm looking at it, I kind of want it, I'm going to go for it is such a powerful move. It's not a move that women are socialized to make.
Yeah.
Right. It takes so much energy to lift off and be like, I'm going to name what I want and I'm going to put my
Yeah.
energy into getting what I want out of life. So thank you for
Yeah.
modeling
One of the
that.
things that I would say though, all those things that I told him, I was like, hey, let's go. And like inviting him. I did not know if he was dating. At any point I asked him, hey, are you dating someone? Because like, I trust you to be an adult and not be, a cheater. So like, I'm not going to be like, hey, so are you dating someone? Let me just make sure. I'm like, no, you take care of that stuff. I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's so many lessons. Like I didn't, of how you like said, okay, we're going home together tonight. Or
yeah.
like I have a phrase for it in my coaching practice. I call it dropping the hanky. I'm like, you got to drop the hanky for the guy. I think women are so afraid of becoming the pursuer, which those are just a whole lot of narratives that are out there. And I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, you don't want to go grab him, club him over the head and drag him into your cave. However, it's okay to indicate interest clearly in a direct way.
And even if it's like I know it was very direct, but like at every point, like I know if at any point if had not shown up to the show and if had said, oh yeah, actually I'm gonna meet someone else, I'll be like, cool, all right, yeah, see you at some point. It's fine. So like when you do that, I think we don't because we're really scared. I'm like, oh, what if he rejects me? Now it means something about me. No, maybe he already has another person or other plans, just meeting some friends, and he's not going to be, a bad friend. And like, oh, now I'm going to drop all my friends because I whatever, right? It's just like, if you don't make it mean anything about you, that a person is rejecting you, because a lot of times, I would say most of the time, it has nothing to do with you. It's either just a lack of how do you know they're the one? I don't know, but you do know when they're not the one. And I also don't know what it is, but like that's not it.
Yeah.
Right. And there's nothing it's not because you're not cool or attractive or amazing or all that. I met so many people in my life. They're super cool and attractive and amazing. And I don't want to be with them.
So good. Oh my gosh. We might have to have another conversation.
Yeah, please.
Get into more dating nitty gritty, but I really just want to appreciate you for coming on today.
Yeah,
this is such a great conversation. Thanks for illuminating the insides of a long distance relationship.
Absolutely.
And just letting us know like, oh yeah, it's work, but it can be good also.
Yeah. The thing is like, there are no rules. All the rules are made up. Just even the rule that, you say, oh, no to long distance relationship. Yeah. I mean, it's not, again, not for everyone. But just make sure to ask yourself, is this rule for me? Because maybe it's not.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Dr. Manuela, can you please tell the listeners again who you work with, what kind of work you do, and how they can connect with you if they're interested in having a chat?
Absolutely. I work with women and I help them just be who they actually are. I help them get rid of all those beliefs that don't serve them. I call them the inner patriarchy, the white dude that lives in our head saying that you're not good enough. And obviously there's something wrong with you. And obviously you shouldn't do any of these things. And of course it's too late and you're too old and et cetera, et cetera. So I help them get rid of all of that so that they can have the life that they want. And the thing is, life is not going to be perfect. Like the weather's going to be bad. The economy is going to tank. People are going to die, get sick, whatever. But you really know, like you learn how to deal with all those things in a way that make everything just be manageable instead of a hassle.
And could you just spell out your website, social media handles for those who want to follow you?
Sure. So my website is my first and last name, Manuela Powell, Manuela Powell. And my handles on all the places are that with DR in front. So Dr. Manuela Powell in all the places. Please come and connect with me. And if you are in a long distance relationship and you want to oh my gosh, I don't know, I just go DM me and we can have a chat and we can decide together if it's is this something that's serving you or not? Because a lot of times it's hard to look from the inside.
Yeah, 100%. And we'll have all of those links in the show notes. Listeners, we just want to thank you for your time and attention today. I know we had a longer episode today, but it was so good. Dr. Manuela, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. And listeners, if you have not purchased the Core Values Dating Blueprint, I want you to go in the show notes and check that out. It's my brand new mini course. It is $47. I think that's the price. Oh my God, it's been I just got back from vacation, y'all. Forgive me. It's $47. If you've been following my work and you're interested in my work and you're like, I really just want a little taste of what it looks like. It is the very tippy-toe beginning of the work that I do with my clients to get their core values out onto their dating profile. You're going to love it. So check that out. It's been wonderful talking long-distance relationships with Dr. Manuela Powell, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening today. If you are ready to get married after divorce, I want to invite you to download my free 8-video training specifically designed to help divorced women date with ease and get married again. Head over to sadecurry.com to get started. That's SADECURRY.com. I'll see you inside.